Alabama plays Texas. It was a 1-point game last year. Alabama very fortunate to win that game in Austin. Here's the return trip to Tuscaloosa. Quinn Ewers getting the start. He was knocked out of this game by a hit by Dallas Turner last year. So he did not get to finish the game. And Luginbill, I think every Texas fan walked out of Darrell Royal Stadium. Mm-hmm. Every Texas player probably walked out and thought two things. If Quinn Ewers plays the whole game, and if Alabama didn't have Bryce Young, Texas wins that game last year.
I think I thought it too.
Everybody did.
Yeah, and there's some validity to that. And as Nick Saban would always say, every team's different. Every year is a different year. We're different. They're different. A lot of different faces. There's some things you can carry over, and there's things that you can't. And so I probably oversimplify my analysis with this game, and I think it comes down to make Texas one-dimensional on offense by forcing them to have to throw the ball to stay in the game. And if you are Texas, you have to stop quarterback run. Make Jalen Milroe beat you through the air, because one team has a quarterback that you're not having to worry about their legs and all these creative plays and designated quarterback runs. So you're playing 11 on 10 for the most part. But when you have to prepare for Jalen Milroe, now it's a whole different animal. And both teams are preparing entirely different ways because of how the quarterback style is with each team. And, I think this is the best opportunity for Texas because they are catching Alabama early. And, Jalen Milroe, I thought looked really sharp. He was nasty in the run game. I mean, he was a problem. And he made some nice throws. Those windows are going to condense, like Nick Saban said in the press conference, when the level of competition goes up. So now the level of competition is going up, and we'll see if he makes those same level and those same types of throws versus a defense that Texas is going to bring to town. But I think all the pressure here, Ryan, is on Texas.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is, this is the best team Sark has probably had since he's been the head coach there. But this team has not been able to get over that hump. They've not, outside really in the most recent years, but outside of the Sugar Bowl against Georgia, they haven't been able to get that win that's in a highly anticipated matchup where they're technically not supposed to kind of press the reset button. It's kind of like Harbaugh a few years ago, where he couldn't beat teams that were ranked in the top 10. He rarely beat teams that were ranked in the top 20, and then they would struggle in a bowl game. And then he beat Ohio State one time, and all of that other stuff went away. It literally evaporated. That's what Texas has to do. If they want to take that next step, that's exactly what they have to do. And they're going to have to do it on the road. And I think this is a much more intriguing game because Jalen Milroe played well than had he not. And they played a bunch of quarterbacks last week. And now Alabama's going, okay, well, what exactly are we? I think they know a lot more about what they are, and probably maybe even more so than they thought they would because of Milroe's performance.
All right, so let me ask you an X's and O's question. We saw Middle Tennessee try to spy Milroe some, and it led to a great moment with Tyler Booker. The spy leaves the ground. Tyler Booker plants him. When you spy a quarterback like Milroe, how does that impact Alabama's run game when you're having to dedicate a defender to spying the quarterback? And how does this indicate their coverage in the pass game, the defense's coverage in the pass game?
Well, oftentimes the spy that you're going to have is going to come somewhere between the tackles, right? It's not going to be a secondary guy come down, and it could be, but that's generally not the case. But when you have a spy, you're taking somebody out of coverage because they can only go into a certain location before they void that location, and they're no longer in a position to make the play on the spy. So I think it limits your ability to cover certain areas of the field. If the quarterback throws the ball, for example, and you have that one defender that's just mirroring him at the line of scrimmage, then there's open space somewhere there behind him. If you're going to spy him and the quarterback escapes the pocket, right? The one thing that you do have is the person that is spying him is not voiding something to come up and take the quarterback. Whereas if this was just a normal coverage player and he sees the quarterback, escape and get, let's just say, flush to the right, he comes off his guy because quarterback's coming out. Now he's voided his guy and he's given the quarterback another option. But with the spy, you don't do that. The spy is obviously a lot. You've allotted it to that player and that player only. So you're gaining traction with that quarterback, but you're losing something in coverage because that player's never been responsible for being somewhere. So to be honest with you, the spy can hurt you if the quarterback sits in the pocket and makes the throw. And that's if offensively, that's what you'd like to see happen, because you're going to have fewer defenders and more space behind him.